The New York Times just released a garbage poll out of the key swing states in the Sun Belt. What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American, back again with a new video, and today we have to talk about the 2024 presidential election because there's a brand new poll released from the New York Times, and it is absolutely terrible. And I know, yesterday we were talking about how the polling was showing good signs for Trump. I know, I get that. It's like, it's kind of weird one day we look at the polling as good for Trump, but the next day it's bad. Well, that's because this poll is just garbage. It doesn't matter that Trump's losing Arizona. That's not the problem. The problem is when you dig into the numbers even further, you realize, oh boy, it's one of these polls. It's all over the place. It doesn't make any sense. The sample is clearly overstating Democrats. That's not the same as the polls yesterday, where Trump was gaining in them, but there wasn't some wonky crosstab that had Trump gaining 70 points with black voters, but losing 30 points with white voters. There wasn't anything like that. And that's what people gotta realize. I know it looks bad that I'm criticizing polls that have Harris, quote-unquote, surging, but the difference is I'm not doing it because it has Trump losing support. It's because when you look inside of the poll, you realize there are some massive problems that we were not seeing just a month ago. Like, the problems in these polls now, they were non-existent just a month ago. Hell, 2 to 3 weeks ago. There weren't these major problems that we're now seeing in these weird polls that have Harris surging by 10 points in some areas. Again, I am not denying that Harris has gained support, obviously. I think that a bunch of dissatisfied Democrats, they were done with Biden. But now they're back with Harris. I'm just saying that polls like this have clear problems with them. Like, we're not talking about, oh, you know, they're off by a point here and there. No. When you look inside of the poll, you realize, oh, wait a minute. We're talking about some big problems. Like, look at the top lines. Look at this. They have Trump winning Georgia by 4, winning Nevada by a point, but by some miracle, they have Trump losing Arizona by 5 points. Yeah. Harris plus 5 in Arizona. And I thought that was bad enough. Like, oh God, they have Harris winning Arizona by 5? That's garbage. Well, guess what? At the same time that Trump is winning Georgia, he is somehow losing North Carolina by 2 points. That's not a misquote. That's not a typo. They're claiming Harris is winning North Carolina by 2 points. Yeah. Harris plus 2 in North Carolina. This isn't 2008. There's no way in hell. Well, I guess there's a possibility, but it's so unlikely that you're not going to see North Carolina vote Democrat if Georgia is voting Republican. That's not going to happen because Georgia is way more demographically favorable for Harris than North Carolina is. That's a fact. And this should tell you everything about the poll. Like, Trump's doing so good in Georgia, he's up in Nevada, but he's doing terrible in Arizona and North Carolina. What's going on here? And you begin to look inside of the poll. Like, look at this. This is the crosstabs for Arizona. And again, I know crosstabs, you gotta be careful with them. They can show some very wonky results. I get it. There's sampling error. I understand that. But just scroll down. You just look down here, right? They have Trump losing by 5. Which, okay, that's not good. But you begin to look at the samples. Scroll over here. 2020 vote. Biden plus 7. That's not a misquote. That's not a typo. According to the New York Times, Joe Biden won Arizona, by 7 in 2020. Remember, back in 2020, he won it by 0.3. So they're claiming that Biden did 7 points better than he really did. Yet they can only get Harris up by 5. You see the problem? Even with this garbage sample, I mean, seriously, how can you get Harris plus 5? But that actually proves what I'm saying. They're overstating Democrats by a lot. Look at Party ID. They have it tied All right, they have Democrats at 31%, Republicans at 31%. In 2020, the electorate in Arizona was R+9. So by some miracle, the state of Arizona has shifted 9 points Democrat in what? 4 years? What a load of crap. But I know there are quote-unquote Republicans in Arizona, the McCain types. I get it, they might be Democrats now. But the problem with that thinking is, well, in the last 2 to 3 years, Republicans have been absolutely killing Democrats with party registration. So by some miracle, they're going to claim that Republicans are only 31% of the electorate in Arizona. 31%. When in reality, party registration data indicates Democrats are getting killed. I know independents, they lean Democrat in Arizona. I get that. But that's just crazy. And you look more at the poll, it's like they have Maricopa County voting for Harris by 9? That's a 7-point shift from 2020. Do people really believe this? Like, there are so many problems here. Like, how do you get Biden +7, a D+1 sample? How? There's really one of two explanations here. Number one, Nate Cohn is cooking the books. I'm not saying that's what's happening here, but the more you look at some of these crosstabs, you look at the sample, it makes you really wonder. Did no one at the New York Times even look at their own poll? Did no one realize that, yeah, the sample was Biden +7. It was D+1 or whatever. Like, no one looked at that and said to themselves, is there a problem here? I'm trying to think. There might be a problem here. You're telling me no one said a damn word? Really? The second explanation, I think this is likely, is the sample is just bad. They had a very bad sample that was way too Democrat, way too Biden friendly, and that's what happened here. And that's what I think's really going on here. They just got a very Democrat sample. I mean, the sample size is what, 677 voters? Yeah, that's nothing. It should be at the bare minimum 800, 900, probably 1,000, especially in Arizona. I mean, it took them a week to poll Arizona and they only got 700 voters? Really? Makes you really wonder, like, wait, what's going on here? It took you that long to poll just under 700 people? Yeah, no. You have a big problem here if you're getting that small of a sample in a week and your sample looks like this. But it keeps going. I mean, Georgia, this is the best state for Trump. By some miracle, this is the most Republican state according to the New York Times. And you know what's very funny about this poll? This is the one state that they didn't dramatically overstate Biden's support in the 2020 vote. Look at this. They claimed Biden won, he won the state by, a few thousand votes. That's what they're claiming here. Well, guess what? In 2020, he won the state by 0.25%. And that's what they have here. They have him up by they have it Biden plus 0.2 or something, which is within reason. That's what the electorate was back in 2020. And this is the state that Trump's up by 4 points in. Makes you really wonder, wait, you're telling me that the one state that you didn't dramatically overstate Biden supported, it's the one state that Trump's up by 4 points in? Outside the margin of error? Is that a coincidence? I think not. It just shows you that if they didn't dramatically overstate Democrats' support here, which they did in Arizona, Trump would be winning by several points. Let's keep going. Nevada was Trump +1, and by some miracle, they actually claimed Biden won the state by 5 points in 2020. Just a quick reminder, Biden really won it by 2.5 points. So despite it being Biden +5, right, this is much more Democrat than even 2020 was. Despite that, they have Trump winning Nevada by a point. Now it begins to make sense why Harris suddenly supports no taxes on tips. It's because she is not doing good in Nevada whatsoever. Seriously, they got it Biden +5 for you and you're still losing? if it's Biden +2, Trump's up by like 4 points. At that point, you're probably cooked in Nevada, and really, you probably shouldn't even campaign there, because when you look at the electoral map, Nevada's the one state that if you're losing as a Democrat, you could probably just ignore it, because you don't really need it. You just don't need Nevada compared to, say, Georgia, compared to, say, Pennsylvania. Nevada's only 6 electoral votes, so if you lose it, not a big deal. Now, there is a big catch with Nevada. It's one of the few states that, historically at least, overstates Republican support, right? This is the one state that, if Republicans are up by 2 points in a poll, they're probably down by a point, or something like that. That's the one catch with Nevada. It usually overstates Republican support. For whatever reason, it's the one state that, if you're up by a point as a Republican, you're probably going to lose. But I think it's different here, just for the simple fact that, yeah, they dramatically overstated the amount of Biden supporters in this poll. Yet they have Harris down by a point. That's 6 points worse than Biden. Like, if you're running that far behind him, you're done. You're not going to win. Could she still win it? I guess, but if you're really running 6 points behind Biden 2020 in Nevada, you're probably not going to win. You're just not. And Nevada's one of those states that it seems like each passing day is getting more Republican. Like, each day it's gaining more and more Republican voters. That's why I think Nevada's the one state that could see a big trend to the right, because it's just getting more and more Republican, and it makes you really wonder if she is doing that bad in Clark County, that bad in Reno, like this poll suggests. I mean, look at this. They have Clark County only Harris +3. They have Reno tied. All right, Clark County voted for Biden by 9 points. Washoe County, Biden +4. If she's doing that bad there, yeah, she's probably in deep shit. You need to win Clark County as a Democrat by like 9 points. If you want to barely win Nevada by like, you have to win it by 8 to 9 points. But right now, she's up by only 3. That is not good for Democrats whatsoever. Now, of course, the one final state in the poll is North Carolina, and I'm just going to say this right off the bat. This poll screams of bullshit. I don't care who you are. North Carolina is not going to vote to the left of Georgia. I guess there's this bizarre scenario where it could, I guess. But do people really believe that North Carolina is going to vote to the left of not just Georgia, but North Carolina or Nevada? Do people really believe North Carolina is going to vote to the left of those states? I don't believe so. I don't believe that for a minute. And you look inside of the numbers, you do realize immediately, yeah, they're probably overstating the amount of Democrats in this poll, just like Georgia. Or actually, I should say Arizona, excuse me. Like, for example, they claimed Biden won the state of North Carolina. We all know he lost it by, like, a point. Yeah, he lost it by a point. But by some miracle, the New York Times is claiming, oh yeah, by the way, Joe Biden won North Carolina by just under a point. Really? Look at Party ID. They're claiming it's an R+2 state, when by all metrics, it's getting even more Republican. But somehow, according to the New York Times, it's going to be even more Democrat than 2020. I'm not even kidding. Look at this. Go to North Carolina. You look at Party ID. It was R+3 back in 2020. Right now, it's R+2. I know party registration, it isn't everything, but Republicans have gained so many new voters in North Carolina that there's no signs of, oh yeah, Democrats are going to do several points better in Party ID. Bullcrap. That's not going to happen. But either way, the more you look at this poll, the more you realize, oh yeah, they're dramatically overstating the amount of Democrats in these samples, like North Carolina, like Nevada, and which not as bad as, say, Arizona, but it's still not, you know, a Republican sample. It's still fairly Democrat even for 2020 standards, despite these states having, by all metrics, having huge surges for Republicans in party registration. But by some miracle, the New York Times is claiming that Trump is gonna, Republicans are not gonna vote. That's what they're claiming here. Is that possible? I guess. But is that likely? No. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy this video, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Godspeed to all of you.